Welcome to Today at Keeneland, as we've got a big Saturday lined up for you for Saturday, October 17th. Clear skies, sunny skies, bit on the chilly side. Gabby says it's colder than yesterday. I don't think it is, Gabby. I'm sorry. I'm not in the camp with you. Yeah. But it is cold. There's no doubting that, especially in the shade. But we'll be out in the sun here in just a bit, so be patient. And we've got a heater, thanks to our man Dan, who's taking care of us down here on the Today at Keeneland set.
Yeah, we've been well taken care of, that's for sure. We were warm yesterday. Hopefully we can get some more propane today, or hopefully it just warms up a little bit quicker. But happy to be here. We've got a great racing card on tap today, Scott.
If we don't find the propane, which I think we do, I think I see a tank of it there. There's Burgoo right over there as well.
Perfect.
So we can get some Burgoo here in just a bit. So before we dive into today's card, which is highlighted by the Grade 2 Lexus Raven Run Stakes for the 3-year-old fillies sprinting 7 furlongs, take you back to yesterday. We had a great card as expected and as we touted here on Today at Keeneland. High Crimes was sensational in the turf sprint. Bon Raison at 10-1 in the late pick for spring in the upset in that very difficult sprint race, I should say. And Stunning Sky, your girl, flashing her stuff in the Grade 3 Pinnock Valley View yesterday for Mike Maker.
Yeah, she had a tough post position to work out a trip from, but Ricardo Santana definitely did that, and he had the horse underneath of him to get up for the victory. So congratulations to them. That was an exciting finish. We had a couple of very exciting finishes yesterday, and I think it might trickle over onto today's 10-race program. I really like the featured Lexus Raven run, but some of the undercard races, Scott, are really, really nice too.
Yesterday's late pick 4 paid $1,000. The late pick 5 paid $5,400. Nobody hit the pick 6. We've got a big carryover coming into the afternoon, over $50,000. So make sure you take a good hard look at the pick 6 with that pick 6 carryover coming in to this Saturday card. I know a lot of you folks will be playing that along with us. Before we dive into our picks for the card, let's go to WKYT for the weather.
Good morning, meteorologist Adam Burnson here in the WKYT First Alert Weather Center. We are looking at a great race day out there for this afternoon. Plenty of sunshine. Temperatures getting into the upper 50s and lower 60s, so a bit on the cool side, but overall a beautiful fall day here in the Commonwealth. So happy racing and good luck out there on the track. Have a great one, everyone.
All right, let's get into our full card selections today, presented by TVG, as we've got 10 races for you this afternoon on the penultimate Saturday of the fall meets. And in race 1, we don't agree. We don't have any alignment until the 8th and then the 10th.
Yeah, we agree in the 8th race, which is a allowance race, a 3 other than allowance race on the turf on Don't Blame Rocket. So that's that race 8, and the 10th race are the two that we actually agree on, which I like because both of those races are in the late pick 4 sequence. So maybe, just maybe today, our tickets will be similar.
All right, the featured race, the 7 furlongs. Well, before I skip social media again, there it is. You should be hosting. You should just take over, Gabby. At Keeneland Racing on Twitter, at Keeneland on Facebook, at Keeneland on Instagram. And if you're watching us on TVG2, or if you're not and you want access to TVG2, download the Watch TVG app. That's on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. You'll get both TVG and TVG2, as well as the TVG Racebook and plenty of on-demand content, which continues to be refreshed just about every single day. So make sure you download that Watch TVG app. All right, now it's time to go into our featured event, the Lexus Raven Run. The Grade 2, $200,000 for the straight 3-year-old fillies. Scratches of Never Forget and Fair Maiden brings it down to a field of 8, and we've got some familiar faces in this one, Gabby.
Especially Venetian Harbor. It's kind of been the situation where Richie Baltus has maybe always had it in the back of his mind that this filly's just going to be better around one turn. So I'm happy to see her in this spot. But Scott, I know she's a 7-5 favorite. This is not an easy spot. There are some really nice dirt sprinters in here. And
the filly that I go to now draws the rail with the scratch of the 1. It's 4 Graces. She's a fast horse. We saw it on full display in the Grade 3 Beaumont during the summer meeting, where she set the track record for 7 furlongs. And then her follow-up run was in the 8 Bells Stakes at Churchill Downs on Kentucky Oaks Day. We take you there. She took a lot of pressure. She's right there. You can see her highlighted, 2 off the rail. And Sconson is going to come over the top and get this victory from her. The fact that Ian Wilkes is bringing her back off of this I don't want to say disappointing run, because she did dig in and she wins the battle with the filly that she's involved in down on the inside, as ends up second, length and 3/4 clear of Never Forget, the filly that scratched out of here. And Sconson came over the top and had the perfect setup. But the fact that Ian Wilkes is bringing her back, she's had a quick workout. You know that she's going to take pressure. I like her. Back here to the track that she set the track record. 4 Graces for me over Venetian Harbor, who you have to respect. There's not a lot separating these fillies. This is going to be quite the test for all of them in here. You've got Finite that you've got to respect, and also Cliff Sice's horse, Secret Keeper. Cliff Sice has had some very nice horses through the years for Pam and Marty Wygod, and this just might be the next one, because she comes off of a second-place finish at Del Mar, going a mile in the Grade 3 Torrey Pines. She won her first 2 starts, one at Santa Anita, one at Del Mar sprinting. She gets back to sprinting here today, sort of splits the difference from the mile to the 6.5, going 7 furlongs today. She gets an outside draw. If she breaks well and has good position down the backstretch, watch out for Secret Keeper, Gabby, because she is 12-1 on the morning line, shipping in from San Luis Rey. That's the training center just south of the San Gabriel Valley where Santa Anita is located. That's where Cliff Sice keeps his horses. I think she's a sneaky price in here, a daughter of Into Mischief, who has a lot of upside. We may not have seen the best of her just yet, and especially with the cutback in distance she's taking today.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about her because I didn't use her in the top 3. But she does look very talented. The conversation really revolves around the 5 Venetian Harbor and whether or not you think that she will be able to finally get the job done today. Now, she's competed against some of the best 3-year-old fillies in the country, in Gamine and Speech and Swiss Skydiver, the past couple of starts, but she's actually been well defeated by them. 7 lengths by Gamine, 3 lengths by Speech, and 2.5 lengths by Swiss Skydiver when she ran against her in the Fantasy at Oakland Park. So I agree with you, Scott. Considering that she's going to be such a heavy favorite, I actually don't think that there's much that separates these fillies. So I took a shot here with the 4 Finite, and this is definitely taking a shot for trainer Steve Asmussen. There was a time in the early part of the year that a lot of people liked her, and a lot of people thought that she was a very talented filly, myself included. She went on to reel off 4 consecutive victories in a row, including the Grade 2 Rachel Alexandra, which we'll show you here right now, taking at the fairgrounds, in which she beat British Idiom, who of course won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies last year, and in that race she beat Swiss Skydiver. So clearly, things went awry in her next start in the Grade 2 Fairground Oaks, and she was sidelined since coming back in the Music City Stakes at Kentucky Downs. Seemed like a curious spot for Steve to bring this filly back last time out, and it didn't work out for her. But how many times have we seen horses come out of Kentucky Downs races, even poor performances at Kentucky Downs, and come back to win here at Keeneland? So I think she's a very special filly, Scott, and clearly things just, she's been sidelined. She has a couple of things to overcome. But she wouldn't be in here if Steve didn't have some confidence in her ability. So I'm going with the Finite on top, respecting Venetian Harbor, and also Reagan's Edge. She's unfortunately caught the likes of Frank's Rocket in her last 2 starts, who is a very nice filly as well in training for trainer Bill Mott. And without her in here, I think Reagan's Edge could be at present. So I talked about 3 horses. You talked about several others. I think this is a really deep Lexus Raven run.
It most certainly is. And let's find out more about the filly that owns the track record here at Keeneland for 7 furlongs. 4 Graces. Ian Wilkes had a chance to join our friend Tom Leach.
Trying to do the same thing.
Trainer Ian Wilkes saddles 4 Graces in the Grade 2 Lexus Raven run. Pace too hot for her last time, maybe?
I think I had her a little short, but let's not take anything away from Greg's filly. She beat me.
How has your filly trained out of that race?
Very good. Very happy the way she's trained. She's very forward. She's I couldn't fault her how she's done.
Think she's still got a little more improvement in her for the rest of this year?
I think so, and she has to. It doesn't get easy.
Good luck.
Thanks, mate.
It's Ian Wilkes, and he'll saddle 4 Graces, one of the top contenders in the Lexus Raven run.
Does that change your opinion, saying that maybe she was a little short going into that race?
Probably. I really did think that she ran an excellent race. She pressed Monday Call, who we thought was really impressive at Ellis Park. Yep. She faded to finish 4th, and at least 4 Graces held on for 2nd to a closer. So if she was short and she can improve off of that effort, I don't think there's any other speed like that in this race. So, yeah, I definitely used her in the late pick 4, Scott.
We'll talk late pick 4 in just a bit, but time now for our key races of the afternoon. And I'm going to go early in the card in this starter 5, optional 10. That's what race number 3 is. They'll be going 6 furlongs, and there is a scratch of dichotomy. The number 2 horse, the favorite is Kiffle, the number 5 for Bob Hess Jr., coming off of a 6-month layoff. This is where I go, owned in part by Ron Palucci and Jeffrey Lambert, the daughter of Take Charge Indy, who was last seen at Gulfstream Park, winning by 7 3/4. She ran for 10 on that afternoon. We'll take you back to this day. The internal fractions were fast, 22 2, 45 flat for a half mile, 109 4 and 116 4 is what she stops the clock at with Tyler Gaffleone, who gets back with her. The fact that she has been sidelined for 6 months is not ideal, but she's got good workouts coming into this race between the Churchill Downs training trackside rather, and then here at Keeneland. And also the fact that he protects her is a positive sign. They could have easily run this filly for a tag off the layoff and had her in a much easier spot, but they opt for the tougher spot. Her numbers are better than just about every horse in this race. Kiffle, for me, is a clear one as far as early in the day. Stellar Stiletto does make sense. Jason Barkley has really developed into a very good claiming trainer, but he's going to have to improve her off of that last race, which was a victory. And then the 3, My Dark Secret for Jamie Grubbs, has been consistent at Belterra. The competition is obviously stiffer when you go from Belterra to Keeneland Racecourse, but you got to respect the consistency that mare comes with each and every time. But I think Kiffle is maybe the most obvious horse on the day. I don't know if on the day necessarily, but at least early on in the card. If you're looking for a single in the early pick 5 or early pick 4, it could be Kiffle. It should be Kiffle in race number 3.
All right. I didn't pick her.
You didn't pick her. All right. Fair enough.
She's only raced twice in a year, really. So not only is she coming in off of a layoff, but she's been very lightly raced. But she is the horse to beat. I won't argue with that.
All right.
I won't argue.
Let's go to race number 6. That's where you're going to lead us, Gabby, in your key race analysis. Rob the Rich is a scratch. Cool Bobby, who draws the rail, is the 2-1 morning line favorite.
Yeah, a nice starter allowance race. As you mentioned, 7 furlongs on the main track. And I think Cool Bobby is one of the better bets of the day, to be honest. I just think that this horse is the class of the field in race 6. We'll show you his race 2 starts back. This was at Saratoga going 7/8. And unfortunately, he was kind of close to a fast pace that seemingly collapsed. And the winner of the race was Everfast. Everfast was second in last year's Preakness Stakes to War of Will. But I thought this was a pretty gritty race for him. He would come back to run at Churchill Downs, and he finished 3rd after showing speed and fading. But he went against Sir Alfred James in there. He went against Coastal Defense. Coastal Defense came back to win and also finished 4th in the Fayette. So I just think he's facing quality allowance, even graded stakes caliber, grade 1 caliber types of horses. And now Cherie DeVaux puts him in this really aggressive spot for the starter allowance race. I just hope Rafael Bejarano is aggressive from the rail. This is a horse that can certainly win on the lead. And he's kind of one of the better bets, in my opinion, of the day, Scott.
Really? I thought Jessup was very live in there, the number 2 horse, off the claim for Gargan, getting eligible for this starter 50 off of that claim. And Gargan is so good first off the claim, striking at 31%. But I was going to go to Cool Bobby, but here we go again with a favorite down on the inside. I mean, you think he can be sharp enough away from there to get early position and not be back behind horses and have it to come from off the pace?
No, I don't think he has to come from off of the pace. I do think Jessup might be a little bit quicker than him, but if Jessup's in front of him and he can just sit right off of him, I don't think that's going to be a problem. All
right, well, that's where I go, is to Jessup in this spot. He broke his maiden on debut at Indiana Grand by 5 lengths. Steve Asmussen got aggressive with him at Churchill Downs. He was the odds-on choice at Churchill, which will take you back to this race for 50, where he was beaten just a neck in the end. He's involved in this battle. He ends up down on the inside, and it's just a back-and-forth battle between him and the eventual winner, who was one of the favorites on that afternoon, went off at 3-1. I mean, this horse never backs down from a challenge during the course of this run. You've got to be very encouraged by what you're seeing here. Danny Gargan had to have probably had to shake for the horse, as I would guess that multiple folks went in on the claim for this runner, and off the claim here a month later steps him up into a starter 50. All positive signs. I mean, this is the claiming game to a T. Asmussen put him in the right spot, recognizing he probably wasn't going to be good enough in an allowance race. They lose him. Gargan gets him, and because of the placing that Asmussen put him in there for 50, he has the luxury of being eligible for this race in this starter 50. Cool Bobby got eligible for it with that race 3 back at Churchill, which nobody claimed him off the layoff, which he blew the doors off of that field, and then they step him up in class. But this is a very good race. I also think that the 7 Lonely Private on the outside is worth taking a look at. Another situation, ran for 40 last time out, was a winner at Churchill, going 7/8 of a mile, the same distance, gets the outside draw. If he gets good early position, you got to watch for him out on the outside. And so watch out for this very good group of runners in race number 6, which it does start the late pick 5. And maybe, just maybe, we could see another payoff like we had yesterday, Gabby. I mean, $5,400, and I think the biggest payoff was the 10-to-1 shot in the runner of Jack Sisterson's, whose name is escaping me, Bon Raison.
Mm-hmm. He was the longest price on the board by many because it was a short field. But could this be a little side bet?
Just a heads up in race number 6?
Yeah.
It works for me.
Okay. It's been a while.
It has been a while. We've been far too nice to each other.
I need to make some money
I just
today.
don't think we've had the energy to poke it at one another here on Today at Keeneland.
Is that fair? Is that too much?
Sure.
For your bankroll?
Where does that take you on your tab with me?
-50, but still up there.
Let's go to your next key race, race number 8, a race headlined by a runner in which your husband sends out Norm Cassie for AJ Suited Racing Stable. Don't Blame Rocket, who ran a good race at a big price in that Grade 1 Turf Classic on Kentucky Derby Day.
Yeah, and the mentality was that, yes, it was a Grade 1, but hopefully this is a horse that could run well in a Grade 1, because the Grade 1, although Factor This is very nice and Digital Age is very nice, you know, there were so many things going on between horses going to Kentucky Downs, Derby weekend. There were, you know, Breeders' Cup prep races all over the place. So that race actually came up to be a little bit on the easier side in terms of all of the Grade 1 turf races that we've seen. All considering, I thought he ran well, but this is a horse that I think is maybe better when he can be a little bit closer to the pace. We'll show you his race in the Grade 2 down at the Fairgrounds back in March, in which he finished second to Factor This. And even in this race, Scott, Instilled Regard was in there. He would go on to win the Grade 1 Manhattan. So, yes, it was a Grade 2, but there were Grade 1 caliber horses here. And you can see him with his grinding run, just chasing Factor This. In the late stages of the race. Factor This got a great ride, and the pace scenario just did not develop for Don't Blame Rocket. But I actually think he should be able to get a decent pace to close into at this distance with an inside draw as well. I think he could maybe sit a mid-pack trip and then go from there. But, you know, it's not an easy race. I think, in my opinion, his biggest threat is probably the 7, Corelli. I think you can give him the benefit of the doubt for his performance in the Grade 1 Sword Dancer last time out against Channel Maker on a soft turf. But his race in the Grade 1 United Nations, I think, is good enough to make him a big threat. So it'll be 2-7-1. I'll throw in Ritzy AP, who's kind of a hit-or-miss type of horse, but on his best day, he could finish in the top 3 at a big price, and I think he will be able to be forwardly placed or on the lead from the rail.
More thoughts on that 8th race from both Gabby and myself when we get to our pick 4 in just a few moments. But time now to check in with today's Clocker Report. We go mid-card, race number 5. It's an A-then allowance race at 1 mile and 1/16. And the number 6 horse, Siamese, worked just 7 days ago, 5 furlongs in 101-1. It's the first start in America, first start in America was not that bad. I do agree with that for Brendan Walsh and Qatar Racing. And gets blinkers here today, working well. So watch out for Siamese, who's 6-1 on the morning line in race number 5. There you go. Thank you, Philip. Pick 4 time. Late pick 4 time, $300,000 guarantee presented by TVG. Gabby Gaudet, let's go. We need one. We need to hit one of these things.
Yikes. We've been close, but just haven't gotten that lucky today. And this is an aggressive strategy. It's very top-heavy today, too. Race 7 is a maiden special weight. I have no idea. I'm using as many horses as I can. 3, 5, 7, 10, and 11. The three tipsy chicks, I thought, is coming out of the strongest maiden special weight race last time out against Travel Column, who finished 3rd in the Grade 1 Ashland. But the 7 Belfiore is actually my top pick for Sharita Bowe. I thought she ran a good third to 2 nice horses, including Little Stitious, who came back to win a maiden special weight yesterday. And of course, the 10, we have a half-sister to Midnight Bisou, the 10, Wicked Bisou. I think you have to use her, but she has the weight of the world on her back today. The race number 8, 4 horses in there with the 1, 2, 4, and 7. That's that 3 other than allowance. Top pick is the 2, Don't Blame Rocket. The only other horse that I didn't mention just a moment ago is the 4, Midnight Tea Time for Joe Sharp. I thought he was good enough to include in the late pick 4. And then as we get to the featured race, the Grade 2 Lexus Raven Run, 2, 4, 5, and 6. If you can afford to throw in a little bit more cash, use the 10, Secret Keeper. I am a little bit worried about her, but of course using Venetian Harbor and their 4 Graces, my top pick in the 4, Finite, and then the 6, Reagan's Edge. And then we get to the final race, and Wesley Ward we trust, singling on the 2, Quarterback Dak.
$40 ticket, $300,000 guaranteed, presented by TVG. Here's a look at my ticket. I will go 3 deep in the first leg, which starts with the 2-year-old filly race going 7 furlongs. The 4, the 7, and the 10, the number 4 horse, Miss Dial for Tom Amos, a first-time starter by Dialed In that they paid a lot of money for this year, $310,000 at a 2-year-old in training sale. The number 7 horse is Belfiore for Cherie DeVoe. Good debut, broke outwards from an outside draw. Won't be on the outside here today, but should be able to improve with the added distance and with the race under her belt. And then you've got to include, as Gabby mentioned, the half to the champion and recent great Midnight Bisou. That's Wicked Bisou, the number 10 horse, homebred for Woodford Thoroughbreds, as they kept her this go around. The number race 8, the 2, the 4, and the 7, Don't Blame Rocket. The number 4 horse, Midnight Tea Time for Joe Sharp. He's run against some tough customers and maybe a little bit more forward than some of these other ones that we're leaning on than Corelli for Jonathan Thomas coming out of those consecutive Grade 1 races, the United Nations and the Sword Dancer. The Lexus Raven Run, 4 Graces, Venetian Harbor, and then the number 10 horse on the outside, the Cliff Sice, Pam and Marty Wygod filly, Secret Keeper. You could hit the all button there if you'd like to. I wouldn't be totally against that idea. One that would worry me a bit is Tonalist Shape. I think that she can close against this group if things get too crazy out in the front end. And then in the 10th and final, Quarterback Dak, who will be the favorite. You have to use that runner. And then I threw in the 10 in this spot. Richie Baltus's Checkmate, coming over from Churchill Downs, where this gelding has been training. He's won here in the past, and he adds blinkers to this gelding with the outside post. He's going to have to be aggressive from that outside post in order to win, but you've got to respect the drop down in class that he is having. Maybe Baltus can take the last couple here today. I think he would certainly enjoy that one, especially if he's able to take that first of the last 2 with the Lexus Raven Run with Venetian Harbor. So those are our pick 4s. Another wonderful sequence again here today at Keeneland Racecourse. The late pick 4 paid over $1,000 yesterday for a 50-cent minimum bet. All right, best angles time, Gabby. Race number 5 is where you go. What's the idea here?
Okay, so this race also kicks off the pick 6. You mentioned a massive carryover in the pick 6 here today, so I'm happy that we're at least highlighting this race. 1 mile and a 16th on the turf for this first level allowance race. And, you know, you have to respect the favorite in here, the 12, Great Island. Unfortunately, she is posted way to the outside. The trend continues here, Scott. Poor Trad Brown, he just can't get lucky with some of these post position draws. But Great Island, she's only run twice. One of them was second to Mean Mary, who was Grade 1 place, Grade 2 winner, and then the second race was a win. So you have to respect her, but she has speed. I just don't know if she's going to get the right trip from that outside post. I like the 7, I Hear You. In a world, in an industry, which is the mentality is, what have you done for me lately? Her last race, yes, she lost, but her race 2 starts back was good enough, I think, to be competitive in this field today. It was at Churchill Downs over a turf listed as good. Overall, it was just a strong performance. So what happened to her last time out? She won here at Keeneland back in the summer meet, but what happened to her last time out at Keeneland? To me, I thought that she was probably a little bit too forwardly placed. She's a filly that seems to like to be off of the pace, make the one run, and get covered up. So I don't really think it was suitable to her running style. And she also got bumped. It doesn't say that in the short comment, but she got bumped by the winner. And I think it exaggerated her poor performance. So I go back to her, but I also think you should use the 6 Siamese in here as well. I like the blinkers on angle because she just ran in spots last time out. So that could help her focus. So for me, I'm going to do a double with the 6, 7, 12 over the 1, 8 for the 5th and the 6th races, respectively.
All right, I'm going to go back to race number 8 and go back to Don't Blame Rocket, as well as a couple of others to play an exotic in this very good 3 other than allowance race. And while you showed his run in the Mervyn Muniz, I'm going to go back to that Grade 1 race at Churchill Downs on Kentucky Derby Day, where he ended up 5th behind the good runners, Digital Age and Factor This. You can see he swings off the turn wide, but he's gaining ground. And if you can gain ground in a Grade 1 and versus Grade 1 type horses, obviously that's who won this race, and Digital Age, who spurts away from them there. This is a strong effort. All he has to do is put it together in the same fashion to be right there in the end. So you've got to respect Don't Blame Rocket. Talked about the other 2 horses that you do as well, the 4 and the 7. So I'm going to play a 50-cent trifecta and hope that the 12 comes back to him, because I think the 12 has to gun from the outside, and he's going to have to hold off those closers. I think he's a candidate to finish 2nd or 3rd. He is 12-1 on the morning line, so I'll use him underneath there, the 12. It's just a $9 ticket, with it being a 50-cent trifecta in race number 8. Those are our best angles of the day. Race 5, race 8. Tom Leach, his pick of the day comes back in race number 5. I Hear You. Ooh. There you go, 6-1. Won impressively here in July during that summer meet here at Keeneland, and had a treble trip last time, and that might boost the price. So Tom Leach and you seeing the same thing with I Hear You. A couple of shouts towards that runner in race number 5. That's the number 7 horse, Tom Leach's pick of the day. Another big card, Gabby. I'm looking forward to this day. I feel like our confidence as handicappers, and I say this wholeheartedly, has really picked up here in recent days as things have started to click a bit just in looking at these races and having figured things out here in these races at Keeneland.
It's about time. We're running out of days.
It's been one of those meets where I think with the year in itself, it's just not the same patterns that we're normally used to seeing. And I think now we finally have figured out those patterns. And hopefully you have as well. We'll see you for First Post, 1:05 Eastern Time. For Gabby, I'm Scott, and the entire team at Today at Keeneland. Enjoy the race day, everybody.